the league in top laners, making sure that he has as much kind of setup as he possibly can, getting rid of things like the Jax and the Rumble, which he can solo on. But that means that Wei gets himself the easiest engage what's possible. It's the point and click of Vi.
Yeah, despite the nerfs, still incredibly high priority. Now I'm curious to see where NIP go. They might want to deny the Kai'Sa. Of course, Kai'Sa is the strongest AD carry in a patch. I think there could have been an argument made had you wanted to go for the Xayah, had some self-peel tools and maybe try to craft a composition around the engage that RNG are going to try to build. But still, good denial coming in with this pick. Nico would be interesting. I mean, has had quite a few nerfs on this patch, but still will be able to provide you an insane amount of lane prio. And NIP are going to want to go with it. So now it's going to be about where RNG want to respond. We highlighted the Annie. It took a small nerf to its Q, but a nerf nonetheless. It's been Tangyuan's most played champion by a mile. 16 games on the Annie as compared to Ahri at 8, his second most played. But I guess Ahri does fit more with the Vi combo, right? Ahri Vi, Taliyah Vi, those are the two kind of pairings you think of. Ahri being the more meta one. Makes a lot of sense to be locked in here. Now, I wonder if you do just end up matching AD carry, but no. Wanting to make sure that the Rel Kai'Sa is denied. So it's kind of funny that it just seems like we're matching punch for punch with engage for engage.
Yeah, engage for engage, but a little bit of anti-engage there, a little bit disengage can come in there. I like the Poppy being locked in here, can go jungle, can go into the top lane as well. We have seen a couple of fringe top laners picking that one up, so a little bit of a flex available for NIP as they maybe look to try and ban out. Honestly, AD carries. Ban away some of these big AD carries, get him off the board, push LP onto something he's not comfortable on, and it's exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, I like the Varus takeaway right off the bat, considering that is something that really can just enable the comp and bring a lot of aggression down to that 2v2. Alistar, of course, one of like the premier answers into Rel and just being able to eat her or her AD carry right out of the fight. And I was wondering if they take away the Xayah, considering that, again, RNG probably going to want to play like a decent bit of heavy engage themselves. But when you have elements that are going to jump in, having an AD carry with self-peel could have done so much. So now it's going to be about NIP revealing their hand. I would expect them to want to go support here, despite the fact that I don't really expect that Poppy to be a flex, because usually it's answered in the Jax. Like, you still can leave that card open. And looking at it, we still have things like the Nautilus left online if they did just want to get their hands on a generic support that works quite well with the Kai'Sa.
Trying to see if they can get that kind of hard engage. Those work relatively all right with the Rakan. I do think it kind of helps to have someone a little bit more mobile, especially with the crash down and the kind of layering of CC that you do have with the Rel. And straight away, RNG just boom, boom. Aphelios and Fiora here locked and loaded. We'll see if NIP want to call the bluff and say, cool, that Poppy's going into the jungle. We're happy to try and chuck, a counter into that top lane to deal with the Fiora instead.
I mean, this is also, like, fine if they did want to do that, but they do. They do exactly that, bringing out the Kennen to match, having the range advantage up in top side. And I mean, just so many things that RNG are going to have to worry about, right? Quickness into a slicing Maelstrom, the Pop Blossom going to be there from Angel. So a lot of things that you have to combo together, but also this composition is going to be incredibly reliant on Zhuo to be able to start off fights. So when you look over at RNG, I think it's a lot more straightforward. Like good side landing options, a ton of pick potential coming out with the single target CC from Vi and the Ahri. And LP is just like super confident when he's been playing on the Aphelios. Again, 18 games played in Aphelios. His second most played is Xayah at 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's even for game 1 of this best of 5 winner of this series will go up against Weibo. Loser is out 2024. The stake is higher, and these teams could not be more evenly matched as we jump in and see who will be taking the advantage in this first game.
Like you said, Oisin, do or die. RNG, NIP, really having enough championship points to be able to lean on to find a win here today. And again, we've kind of said it, RNG, I feel the expectations are on them for what past iterations of RNG have been able to do. NIP coming in as the 10th seed, coming in as the lowest seed into playoffs. Really, anything they could do, I think, is going to be viewed as a positive.
And that's really it for NIP, is that you're you're building now. I think this is the best way to put it, is that, like, yes, you could talk about who they were before and, you know, all these different legacies, V5, all that stuff. Like, no, for Ninjas in Pyjamas, this is the start. This is how you want to try and continue forward. And yes, you got into playoffs. Well done. First for your organization here in the LPL. First for, you know, one or two of your players here on the rosters. But how far can you go? What is the improvement from that? Because let's be real, you know, you can turn around and say, oh, we want to make playoffs, but no one's going to be satisfied with just playoffs. You want to keep this ride going.
Exactly. And for NIP, they've actually beaten RNG both times they've played this year. They 2-0'd them in spring, 2-1 them not even 3 weeks ago. So this actually might be a matchup where NIP are feeling confident, especially as we look across the lanes, right? Zhuo already going for a nice engage.
Forcing the cleanse there out of LP. I'm gonna get the heal out of, actually not the heal. It sounded like a heal there, but just the ignite coming out from Zhuo. And then NIP just kind of using this Kai'Sa to their advantage. Again, the Aphelios took serious nerfs here. And even at level 1, he wasn't that great. Flash in, flash away. They will be able to get the flash there out of LP. Nicely done here by the NIP bot lane.
Zhuo just having that killer instinct, and this is what we were hitting on before the game. RNG's bot lane honestly has been a liability in their recent series. Haven't been doing well in the 2v2s, and NIP already finding a nice way to start off an advantage. We can see, though, Shadow's actually angling around mid, is going to make his way down to his blue buff, and that's good. Kind of lean down to where your priority is, make sure you get that bot lane scuttle, and then make it hard. Don't give away options to be able to play around the spot side.
Getting an early crash there, making sure they have pure priority here. And this is the thing with the Aphelios. You know, you look at the way they kind of... what you're probably saying, oh, it's a nerf to Aphelios. What were the nerfs? Well, a lot of little small things that kind of happened on his red gun, the Severum. He lost a lot of lifesteal on his, you know, kind of attacks and on his abilities. The slow duration
Force getting nerfed last patch.
Yep, exactly, yes. There's a lot of little small things that kind of just kept him behind. So even though, yes, he obviously doesn't have the greatest of early games and hasn't had the greatest of early games pretty much ever in his career, but... except maybe release. But, you know, this is kind of, you know, great to see from NIP saying, look, we're not going to just let you have this, you know, kind of super scaling pick, and we are going to punish you.
Yeah, especially having the recon into the rel, right? Being able to throw out those Qs, having the freedom to always dash out to your ally after you look for those knockups, I think is what gives NIP's bot lane duo so much power in this 2v2. And I love that Zhuo already denying vision and trying to make sure that they know exactly what's going on. But, Machine, I don't know if they'll be ready for this.
Yeah, well, now they are. They just spot out Shadow and realizes... now he's ready. You know, always expect the unexpected, therefore you expected it. But, I mean, great shadowing there from Wei just to make sure that this bot lane was, you know, with the crash up coming in, he was very much in the right place at the right time to say, look, Shadow might be trying to go for something sneaky. I'm just going to be in a position here to make sure that nothing terrible happens. Breathe as well, recognizing that Shadow is on the bot side, gets himself a nice little move up here into the top lane, takes the scuttle, knows the waves crashing, loses nothing for it.
And this is what we were talking about. Like, RNG is still pretty smart about how they're able, like, on these small movements on the map, right? Realizing, hey, both jungles are bot side. He had Prio, so he was able to get that bot lane scuttle. I got to take this time to get top side one. Things like this is where you can still see, like, the hints of old RNG. Speaking of old RNG, this is the first time RNG have had a playoff series without Ming since 2016 summer. It's been a long time since, you know, they haven't had Ming to rely on. So, you know, people like Wei, people like Breathe, hell, even LvMao, despite not being a great individual performer in those 2v2s, the wealth of experience he brings are going to be so important to being able to kind of follow in those footsteps and at least do as well as RNG did in spring playoffs, which was they made it to round 2, right? They were able to win up the first round matchup, and RNG at least has to hit that same bar.
We'll see what kind of bar or how high it is. It's a pretty high one for RNG. I will say as well, for both spring and summer, NIP have been the victors in this matchup in the regular season, winning both in the, you know, kind of spring and summer seasons, able to kind of keep the RNG hype train going down. And I mean, for RNG as well, like, as an organization, I know, you know, you mentioned a couple of the, you know, the setups and stuff, but this is a team that has only had success with Xiaohu. This is a team that has literally never, you know, kind of won any other title without Xiaohu, regardless of Uzi and Ming and everyone else like that. Xiaohu was the core of this roster for so long. 100%. Now with Tangyuan coming in, they're just trying to set up and become what they, you know, what they can be.
I mean, I think, you know, again, it's not even regardless of Uzi. Xiaohu is tied for the most LPL titles with Clearlove. You know, he was the defining piece that RNG roster, and we're going to see RNG not able to do anything in this early game, having to give up this early Drake to NIP. I think Wei realizing he was quite slow on the trigger pull to try to join in. And for now, NIP just feel like they're chilling, stacking up early objectives. But I do want to change our attention to the CS differentials, because Breathe actually starting to build himself a good lead in that top side. Already has a Null Magic Mantle, actually just picked up the Merc Treads, even need a longsword to have a bit of combat ability under his belt. So this top lane can be the difference maker. That was what we highlighted from RNG, right? That Breathe has really been the standout for them, and I'd love to see RNG be able to enable that more.
Right now, they just got to try and soak up this pressure in bot side, which they're doing very well, keeping the CS pretty much equal in that regard. So you only the Dragon to kind of deal between the two teams. And again, we kind of always see the Poppy now. To quote Nightmare and every other person, you know, Poppy level 3 is pretty much already full build to make things happen. The level 6 is a plus, but it's not a guarantee to make things happen. But now, looking at this bot side, you can see LvMao and LP having to just sack this wave. Luckily for them, though, it was a cannon, so it's just going to be the cannon that goes down, -1 for LP, but he'll be able to pretty much get everything else, and that's not a bad trade, to be perfectly honest, considering how much pressure they were under.
Oh, definitely, right? You'll take that every day of the week. The one thing you won't take is, I feel like, I really like how RNG are kind of pushing some of their ward lines kind of aggressively. You look at the mini-map, you know, you got one right behind blue buff, you got someone on you know, Raptors, some pretty deep vision to be able to spot out where Shadow is going to be, and it gives Wei opportunities like this now that he's level 6.
Gives him an opportunity. Invincible, gonna get immediately hit in with the decent assist. Good roam, but a flash from Invincible alongside the slicing Maelstrom does mean that he's not able to go down. But now no flash, no ult on the Kennen. Very much diminished in terms of what they can do in a team fight.
Right? I mean, that should just be Herald going over. With 3 ults burned, NIP are going to be able to get this one for free. So it's going to be about pivoting over towards mid, maybe starting to lean down towards bot, clearing out that vision to make sure you're prepped for next Dragon, which is exactly what RNG are going to do. So really nice response, but still, the fact that they could make that play work topside is giving NIP another objective.
NIP kind of owning the early game right now, really kind of stepping up here. And this is what we talked about in terms of the, the average game time, is that NIP, they live and die by the average game time by a lot of different metrics. They love to be aggressive. They love it, you know, for better or for worse, love to try and make these things happen. But when it goes right, not quite sure where LP was aiming that one, but when it goes right for NIP, it does feel like they can start to snowball very effectively.
They really could, and it all comes down to the fact that, like we've seen, Shadow has been very proactive. They might not have found a kill just yet. That's what they've been working on, is we almost had a replay in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen.
I think it was highlighting that Wei used his Vault Breaker and then let it go on cooldown, and that's why he couldn't use it straight away to get the initial CC onto Invincible. I think that's what they were trying to highlight.
You have much better eyes than me, Oisin.
Yeah. got LASIK surgery, man. It helps. But speaking of helping, LvMao needs to help himself get the hell out of here. Does have the extra movement speed, so should just be fine, but again, just kind of slowly ticking away right now. No exceptional kind of, you know, advantages coming in here or there. Minute 30 to the next Dragon. It's going to be a Chem Dragon, so we'll see what NIP want to do. And so far, you know, I don't think RNG are going to be unhappy with the state of the game. I do think I would have liked to see maybe Wei and Tangyuan have a little bit more kind of a comboing up, but it's so difficult into the hard wave clear that, you know, Angel has in this mid lane to try and really go for him in that regard.
Definitely. And despite all the hovering around bot lane we've seen Shadow do, he's also just walked through mid numerous times, kind of making his presence known because he doesn't really care about, you know, having to make something happen when Tangyuan does have so much mobility on the R8 at this point. But that's also just even lended itself even more for it to be hard for RNG to try to find those sorts of plays. We're going to be at a point where NIP soon are going to have to drop down this Rift Herald. You've already taken a plate in bot lane.
That's an illegal move, Angel. You know it's an illegal move. You're not allowed to do that.
Wait, is it really?
Yagao got a can. I think, I don't know if it's illegal, but I know Yagao got told by refs to stop. Like, he actually got told by referees to stop doing the helicopter with the Nico because it was very annoying.
You know, at first I'm like, what is this? It's so Zhuo. It's so heartwarming. It's bringing up the vibes. And you know, we all know a League of Legends playoff series is all decided by the vibes. As my God, man, Shadow has to look for an opportunity to use his Herald, especially with Dragon coming up right now. Looks like they're going to lean towards spot.
Yeah, Invincible hasn't gone down just yet, and I was going to say, he's not dead just yet. Breed taking a lot of damage underneath that tower. If he got stunned, he would have been dead. They finally get themselves first blood, and RNG are on the board. But, like you just said, it is going to be a trade of top lane pressure for that Dragon and bot lane.
Yeah, so RNG going to find themselves a semblance of gold with this kill. Breathe maybe going to be able to get his hands on at least one plate. So you're enabling your side laning even more. But if NIP can just keep stacking these Drakes, aren't you going to be forced into a very early soul fight? Which, like we pointed out, right, slicing Maelstrom, Pop Loss, and the quickness, NIP should have tools where they're favored in that exchange.
Well, drop the Rift Herald here, get something more gold over to Photic on this Kai'Sa, get him going on it, has got the Kraken Slayer, so... See the Keeper's Verdict gonna mean LP is it all by his lonesome. Shotgun into the backside, and Photic picks up that kill. Really nicely done there from the side of NIP, but honestly, I feel like LP should have recognized what was happening.
Yeah, I mean, right, your jungle was playing up towards topside, going for that dive. You know they're on Draken, they have a wave coming in, and just great comboing by NIP to make sure that even with using his summoners, right, Cleanse Flash coming out, he wasn't able to get away. So NIP doing a nice job to match. And we're going to get a replay of exactly what happened on top side. Is Wei making his way around and just giving Invincible a false sense of security after he clears that ward, gets behind him, ulti comes out, and then just so easy to be able to proc these vitals. Like you said, the Slicing Maelstrom almost doing enough with the turret shot, but once he's in that position, what can you do? And here, I mean, this position already feeling kind of doomed. Rift Herald does come out. LP probably should have started backing off sooner because the combo there was so good. Quickness knock-up into the knockback from the Poppy. It really just gave LP no room to play around once he was in that position.
And that's the thing as well, is that not only do you get the kill, you get a lot of turret plates as well. It kind of totally negates the advantage you got on top side. Yes, the Fiora is getting a little bit ahead. That's great to have for Breed, but it's still not going to be great if you're going up against a super fed Kai'Sa, and we know what this Kai'Sa can do in the later stages of the game. So you can see there Photic and Breed being the beneficiaries of all of this gold, and after that it's kind of just a bit of a medley of who can get what item completions when.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, we could see for across the board, NIP having so many of those item completions that you just hit on done. Even Invincible, who's been the member that's set behind, right? He's, a fair bit of CS down, is already given over a death. Even he's not too far off his first item coming through. RNG being a bit behind, starting to get those mythics picked up, and I guess even non-mythics like the Kraken Slayer just picked up by LP.
And let's talk about where this game is right now. 14 minutes, TPs are unleashed. Wei trying to see if he can do something in the spot side. Do they actually think this is Kai'Sa? That's the question. Now they know it's not Kai'Sa. The wave's already been cleared, so Angel going to be fine to just scout this one out with his clone and just back himself away. But 14 minutes in, teleport's obviously unleashed for the last few minutes or so. Second Herald going to be pretty much confirmed here by NIP. I mean, for RNG, it just feels a little slow. It feels like a little bit, they're not really sure where they want to be going. LvMao taking a huge chunk of damage after he tries to clear some vision. But how do you want to see RNG maybe try and, play to their win condition? What is their win condition coming into this mid to late game?
I'll answer in a second, but real quick, I want to highlight that I love what NIP did there, like moving Angel early so no potential dive on bot lane can come through. But for RNG, honestly, at this point, it just feels so hard. Like, again, the fact that 2 dragons have already been taken, the next one spawns at 140, like, you're going to have to team fight soon. RNG are doing exactly what they need to be doing now, which is kind of playing away from NIP's main forces and trying to just really open up this map, make it wide, pull them apart. And then, if NIP show, you can start looking for picks. The problem is, NIP are playing smartly around it. Again, Angel just gives over bot lane turret. You don't play into the potential side lane threat. Hey, gold might still be going even, but we can just keep overloading the map, and RNG aren't going to be able to answer. So I feel like for RNG, it's going to be a slow burn of just having to keep letting Breathe and Tangyuan do what they do and starting to combo Wei into these side lane plays even more.
I love that you brought up the dragon, the fact that it's up in a minute's time. You have now trying to go for the top side, but they've already called this. NIP are ready for it, but can they help out their top laner? Yes, they can. Oh, it's a beautiful read from NIP. Oh, it's like a good book. You don't want to put it down.
Exactly. It just goes to what we just said, right? RNG are trying to play to their composition. NIP are just reading it so well. NIP know exactly how to play around it. If we know to say, hey, Wei, Tangyuan, these guys should start be linking up, looking for picks on sides, NIP, of course, know that too. So NIP playing around it beautifully. It gives Invincible the chance to get that turret just now in bot lane. And now we're starting to see NIP open up a meaningful gold lead.
Meaningful gold lead, and not only that, but you just have to invest in, 3 ultimates topside. 3 ultimates that you're not going to have for this dragon. This is a sole point now. Let me look at the replay, because again, it's just Zhuo and Shadow saying, look, we know what's going to happen, and as soon as that word goes down, they go, cool, we confirmed it's going to happen.
Yeah, they have all the information in the world. Full combo comes out, but we see Slicing Maelstrom finds the initial stuns, then you chain that into the quickness, and just nowhere to go for the members of RNG. So great to see from NIP. If you missed it, NIP have taken down RNG both times they played this year's. Of course, best of 5 is a completely different beast, but I think that should give NIP a lot of confidence coming into this series. A series that is Shadow's first appearance in the LPL playoffs. Same with Invincible. Very first time in an LPL playoff series, so good to see that the nerves isn't getting to, these guys. I guess for Shadow, it's not as fair, right? He has played at Worlds, he has played in the LEC, he has kind of been on the biggest stages, but still, LPL playoffs is a different monster.
Oh yeah, like when you go from even just the fact that regardless of the teams you're fighting or anything like that, that's a different conversation for a different day. But just the fact that you're starting so low down and you have to play so many best of 5s just even to have a chance of doing kind of any semblance of well. But they're gonna try an all in now, flash in with the charm onto Invincible, and it should just be an easy pick off there. Slight little bit of a mistake coming out here from the NIP top laner as LP gets hit up here. He's gonna flash and cleanse, gonna try and run away from this fight altogether. The flash in with the pop blossom pops him down. LvMao tries to get away, but a shotgun onto the backside means a Photic confirms that kill. And anything you do, we can do better. While this is all happening, the Fiora has to TP out because she knows after that tower she would have been dead if she tried to stay for more.
Breathe knowing, this is just an objective side lane game coming out for the side of RNG. RNG being able to find that first one was good, but we see what happens when you try to fight into that NIP composition. I really want to get a replay of that one soon because it was just so it was so all in coming out from both teams. It really looked like Shadow able to get quite a bit done, denying some of those dashes in. But here, you just have an ability to close so much distance with the Ahri Vi combination, right? Wei going in, being able to follow up over the wall with that Spirit Rush. But then it's here where I'm surprised. LP walking forward, wanting to find more, has to blow both summoners immediately because he's all on his lonesome. And we see there, it looks like initially the Poppy ult was canceled, but then Photic and Zhuo quickly able to follow up as Zhuo almost went down to something.
I think he was looking for some aggressive warding and almost got all in on. Luckily for him, there was no cease and desist available for Wei. It was still on cooldown, so he does get away with his life. Funny enough, actually, I like that. It kind of leads into something. I was going to say it just as we saw that little replay happening. The thing, Zhuo didn't use his flash right up until the end of that play. We can see it here in the replay of how he gets caught. Yep, just on a solo mission, too much single target CC. But the fact that he didn't use his flash in that last exchange means that he was able to get out with his life and keep himself nice and healthy. Now, coming back in, 20 minutes on the clock, 2 minutes until Mountain Soul for NIP. You've got 2 items onto your Kai'Sa. You're building onto your second item here for Angel. And the fact that he's going for the Zhonya's, I absolutely love because it shows exactly where NIPs know where their win condition is. It's in those team fights. He needs to be able to get those rotation of spells out.
He really does. And thinking about kind of how RNG can even open up the map to try to combat this and really find themselves in a forward position. They might need to look for a similar play to what they did before. You have TP up on Tangyuan, maybe bringing him over along with Wei and trying to look to attack the sides again and create a pick. Could be a way of doing it. You take out Invincible right before Dragon comes up, that's slicing Maelstrom down, and then you could try to take a 5v4. But beyond that, this is what we were so scared of earlier on, right? The timer that NIP have been setting them on this whole game by stacking up all these Dragons from so early on.
And this is the thing as well. RNG chose to go into this Fiora. They could have went with something like an Ornn or Cassante, you know, just something to give them a bit more team fight presence alongside the Rel. But they decided, look, we're going to, you know, kind of lock in this Fiora, go for something a little bit more kind of side lane orientated. And in fairness to them, they tried to make it work. They were putting a lot of effort, a lot of time into getting Breathe ahead, which he is, but it just doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of the game when dragons are so powerful, when team fights are so important of how the game goes. And right now, with 40 seconds left on the clock, it is going to be NIP to kind of, you know, reset, get themselves back on the map. They have got the fully formed Zhonya's now available for Angel, and it's going to be about who can make this fight work, and you're going to be forced into this.
Yeah, so kind of taking stock of where we're at, right? LP, no flash. LvMao, no flash. Tangyuan, no flash. A lot of key summoners missing from the side of RNG to where when you look at NIP, Angel's flash not going to be up. You know, that's pretty impactful. Zhuo not needing his as much. Sure, it would be nice if it was there, right? Would make, you know, finding your access to the back line even easier. You can see for RNG, knowing they need to go for this play on top side, that, yeah, they're just going to give it up.
They're giving up a Mountain Soul. This feels a little bit bad there. Invincible trying to keep himself away from the wall. They're going to all in on top of him right now and will burst him out easy as you like. But, I mean, it's going to be a turret. Yes, it's a lot of gold back in your favor. But, I mean, it shows you just how one-dimensional this composition has to be from RNG. They can't go for a 5v5, and they know it.
A lot of the heavy lifting that they do would be earlier on. And even if they didn't get earlier dragons, at least being able to prevent NIP from getting it, like posturing, having some level of threat, finding picks before that was able to happen, that's where the work had to be done. And now it's showing that it wasn't, of like, hey, NIP now going to be even stronger. But now we're going to see NIP like start appropriately playing around the Sparran, which has been the downfall of many teams before. But I feel like as an IP, you'd really like to get this online before Elder comes up and not have some kind of like precarious like situation where you're dancing around Elder and maybe Wei's able to get into the pit and find a smite.
That's the thing now. You're giving over the soul. Do you give over the Baron? Because it's going to be another 5v5 potential fight. This is exactly what NIP goes. Hey, look, they're terrified of us. They don't want to fight us. And after using all of the ultimates on top side, they, you know, in that pick, they can't really go for this play. Tangyuan off to the side will have to look for something huge. But there's the Slicing Maelstrom straight away. LvMao trying to use the Magnet Storm to try and keep himself alive. But a Keeper's Verdict, a Baron. And this is why NIP felt so comfortable going for this force, because they just knew you can't fight us. And there, LP just dies the crash down to your doom. Double kill for Invincible. The recalls are coming in. They should be able to stop the inhibitor from going down. They even stop the inhibitor turret as Angel is there. Breathe will have to kind of sacrifice himself. He has to go for these kind of trades. They're just going to lose outside the rest of the map. Nobody's here to defend.
Yeah, and I think LP and LvMao were thinking, you know, of course thinking like maybe they'd found an opportunity to get a kill, but mostly like, hey, maybe we have to like delay a little bit, still keep posturing from like an aggressive position, try to tether so that Breathe can get more done. But all he did was give over a situation where Invincible can find that kill. And now for NIP, hell, if RNG were dodging them before, not only do you have to worry about Mountain Soul and all these huge ultimates and stats that NIP have picked up, now you have to worry about Baron minions just funneling through your base. So you can see RNG trying to play around it by just hard committing to finding these picks. Invincible
doesn't get hit by the first piece of CC, does get hit by the rest of it. Invincible does not have the Slicing Maelstrom just yet, does have it now, but doesn't want to waste it. I mean, look, you have to commit. You don't have any other chances. You don't have any other options, really, as RNG. You just have to keep throwing in lots of different CC on top of Invincible and hope and pray that you can get a death timer long enough that you can win the game. But with the Baron, that's the kicker. That's the thing that just completely negates everything that this composition wants to do, because your side lanes aren't able to deal with this pressure of the Baroned up minions anymore. And now we're going to see them going fully on top of Wei, who does flash away. There's going to be the Keeper's Verdict to make sure they have no way of re-engaging onto this fight. Shadow is taking a lot of things. He's getting blocked by the minions! Oh my lord, he was nearly minion blocked to oblivion there. There's going to be a flank here from Breathe as he looks to try and make this work. They know exactly where he is, and now they're going to TP in here with Invincible. Breathe, you can't go for a 5v5 even without the pop plus of the Keeper's Verdict. All these massive ultimates, he knows it's just not a good fight.
He knows he can't do anything about it. I even like Invincible TPing in just in case RNG had committed to it, and like making sure you don't give anything over when you don't need to. So TP is going to be down there, but at least Angel still has his, which is going to be able to make it so you're able to maintain pressure on the map. With only 40 seconds left on this Baron, I don't expect them to be able to get too much more. Maybe Photic can try to find that tier 1 turret in top, but I feel like a lot's going to be about just trying to get vision back for this Baron that's coming, for, you know, potential like Barons and Elders coming up very soon. His Elder only 2 minutes away. And again, that could be a huge difference maker for either side. As looking at Tangyuan, he's pretty close to the Rabadons. Maybe that'll help you out, give you a bit more damage with him and Wei jumping in to potentially take out Photic.
It'll help you kill Invincible a lot faster.
You're right. You're right. That is all that's going to happen.
Oh, TP. It's on to Angel here, but he's just going to walk away. And Tangyuan now doesn't have a TP to kind of bring back onto this. Photic just pushing in, getting this turn. And Photic's just been slowly but surely becoming a monster. They jump onto Breed, who does flash away. I mean, yes, the side lanes were great, but now your side lanes are so long. Like, look at how far you'd have to go to get any kind of objective here for the side of RNG and NIP. They're just going to be able to reset minute 30 till Elder, like you mentioned, and they know this is the next big thing, because Photic just picked up a stopwatch to make sure they can take this fight.
Yeah, he's going to be absolutely chilling when it comes to redemption, even finished by Zhuo, so going to give them more survivability coming on through.
Elixir and Angel as well.
They're in such a great position. Another stopwatch just picked up by Shadow. Like, seriously, NIP should be like their top laner's name. They should be invincible going into this next fight. Now it's about seeing them push, I think, for a bit more aggressive vision in that bot side jungle. Photic, you want to wait for your support. And honestly, I'd even say you wait for Shadow. Kind of walk in as a unit, get your bot lane wave in order before this one comes out. Breathe is putting up quite a bit of pressure up in that top side. Angel could answer since he has TP, but has to be conscious of a potential dive that can come through. But that Zhonya's might be able to save his life and make it so that isn't too meaningful.
There are 4 effective stopwatches on the side of NIP right now. 2 Zhonyas and 2 stopwatches available for them. The only person who doesn't have a stasis to kind of bring them in is Zhuo, which, in fairness, is a Rakan, so he should just be fine. He's a Rakan.
Yeah, exactly. His existence is a stasis. He can do what he pleases.
Pretty much. He's just waiting for his flash to come back, and then he's literally immortal. But we are going to see that with the Rabadon's death cap being finished up here, Shadow takes a huge chunk there. If he dies just before this Elder, and that's exactly what they're going for, Tangyuan does flash in with the Spirit Rush and gets Keeper's Verdict right back out. Shadow using that camp to heal himself back up a little bit. That was a scary moment there for NIP. They're not done with this game just yet. They are ahead, but they are not done.
Still, I think pretty tragic that they had to waste Shadow's ult cooldown. They'd already gotten their aggressive vision that they wanted. They really didn't need to like posture to push them off. I get trying to make it so that they aren't able to reclaim vision and protecting those wards, but that ultimate, that Keeper's Verdict could be the difference between getting this strike or not.
Here we go. Flashes available across the board except for Tangyuan. Breathe is on the top side just dealing with this split push. Angel trying to make sure he doesn't get a tower or an inhibitor for free. There's the crash down, but it's not really going to go much else. They're going to go in right on top of LP. Tangyuan has nothing left either, and both your carries are dead. You are gaining stuff on the top side, so you do have to make sure you get this Elder as quick as you possibly can. Wei is the target here as he tries to jump straight in on the Photic. He has a redemption to help him out. Flash over as Wei tries to flash away, but a Q does confirm it. Breathe is trying to 1v5 right now. He's just going to try and do as much as he can because he knows that this game is almost certainly over with only him alive. It's NIP running up the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, for NIP now, this should just be the win. They have supers in the base. Even going to bring Invincible's TP in. And as Shane, we were saying, they've been beating RNG all year long, and they're going to keep it up.
They are going to keep it up. This is going to be NIP taking the advantage in this best of 5. They got themselves their win condition. They knew exactly how to play it, and they made sure RNG never had a look in.
And I feel like it was just so crucial for them to get that Drake stacking started so early on. And it was so important for RNG to try to dissuade that, try to make sure that wasn't able to come through. But a lot of it coming down to just the fact that RNG's bot lane